You are listening to Leading the Factory Forward with your host, Lynn Friest. We share interviews with manufacturing experts and strategies for embracing the digital future, recruiting a new workforce, finding new business. Lynn is an advanced manufacturing strategist and leadership consultant who is on a mission to show manufacturing leaders how to improve their current operations while preparing for a digital future. And here's your host, Lynn Friest.
Hello again, and welcome to this episode of Leading the Factory Forward. Today, we're starting a series on Industry 4.0, digital manufacturing, and digital leadership. I'm going to share some of what I've learned about leadership in a digital manufacturing future. I'll start this series with an overview of Industry 4.0, a brief one, and then I'll describe a few options to consider when starting your journey, and finally explore some of the leadership skills and behaviors that seem to be useful in this new world. Now, personally, I'm a digital immigrant, and I grew up along with some of these manufacturing technologies. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly as new technology is implemented in manufacturing. And while we're talking about technology, you'll find that we haven't left the people skills that we covered in earlier episodes on emotional intelligence behind. They'll also be very important as we implement technology. Technology doesn't happen without the people. So a quick overview of Industry 4.0. Many things have been written about Industry 4.0, and I am certainly not the technical expert in all of them. If you Google Industry 4.0, you get 259 million results, and it even has its own Wikipedia page. So there's many resources out there you can use for this. As a quick review of manufacturing history, Industry 0.0 was when products were made by craftsmen or craftswomen. Industry 1.0 was when machinery became widely used in manufacturing. Industry 2.0 was when mass production started. Think Henry Ford. And Industry 3.0 was when automation and electronics were commonly used, beginning in the 70s and 80s. And finally, Industry 4.0 is where there's a digital supply chain and the elements of production are digitally linked. Now, this is a massive subject, but to put a framework around it for our purposes, in these episodes, I'm going to like to think of Industry 4.0 in three categories: parts, processes, and people. And we'll go over each of these areas. Now, why is this important? From a Small Business Trends blog, they listed some of the key challenges for manufacturers currently and in the future: global or offshore competition, who is also becoming more digital, a shortage of skilled workers, the increasing speed of competition, the rising customer expectations. Our customers want better, faster, cheaper. Again, rapidly advancing technology, which can be disruptive to our current business value creation. And finally, changing regulations. And while technology won't fix regulations, it can help you comply with them, we'll say. And I would have to add that we may not even be aware of some of the challenges that are coming to us yet. So let's start with parts, technologies to make things. Just a few of these technologies, and some of them are not new: 3D printing or additive manufacturing, the Internet of Things, connected equipment, some of which was already computer controlled, but now we're connecting it. Predictive maintenance. We've always tried to do preventive maintenance, but now we're actually going to use data to try to be more targeted. AR, VR, the virtual reality, the augmented reality, the things that can actually help us on the floor get our work done. Robotics and automation. We go from simple automation that we've used for many, many decades to now we have the possibility of cobots, robots that'll work side by side with us. Think of a robot will do all the heavy lifting for you while you decide how to handle some other issue. And finally, there's new materials, things like composites or ceramics. So what are the threats to our current business? Well, these technologies can be disruptive to your value proposition. Again, as I mentioned earlier, think steel versus composites. They can provide a competitor with more velocity to the manufacturing cycle than you have. They'll get there sooner than you can. They literally make things not possible with older technology. If you look at some of the designs in additive manufacturing with web-based designs, they can make parts with less material, make them lighter. There's a lot of things that aren't possible with older technology. And finally, they can make a competitor more flexible and agile. They can respond to changes in market demand, respond to customer changes much quicker than you can. So what are some of the first steps? Well, it's good to start small and look at what you do today. Do some simple maps of your product and product data flows, how parts are made today, how they move through your factory, how they're designed, how you change designs. What are the things you do today? Do you mark up paper prints? Are your machines disconnected so that you're not sure which ones are running or which ones aren't? And then consider, where are today's bottlenecks? And where are today's problems happening in your current design and production processes? Where is the scrap occurring? Where are the delays occurring? Where's the rework occurring? Just think about what's happening today is a great place to start. And some of these things, if you can fix, even before adding technology, you can see some improvements. Then we have processes, how we handle our information and workflows. Some of the key process technologies are enterprise resource planning, or ERP, which is an outgrowth of material requirements planning, which MRP, and just plain old scheduling systems. But again, it gives a total flow of information in the new enterprise resource planning systems. There's CAD/CAM, clearly not a new technology, but having our parts described digitally is fundamental to our success moving forward. Then we have data analytics. It really helps us identify problems and opportunities. Where are things working? Where can we even do better? We now have the ability to get much more data and analyze it much quicker. And then there's the idea of digital marketing. Simple things like Google Analytics. But again, it enables you to have a global reach as even a very small company. I've seen some small companies that truly are marketing their products globally. Then we have cybersecurity. Again, it's a risk for Elvis. Obviously, there's all kinds of horror stories of things where people were hacked. Now, for the small manufacturer, the problem may be you come into work and none of your workstations can be unlocked, or you can't access your server with all its data. Those are the common things that can really hold you up in cybersecurity. And then finally, there's this idea of the digital twin and the digital thread. The digital twin is basically an electronic representation of your production and information processes so that you could actually do modeling, you can see what would work, you can try out new ideas very quickly and at very low cost. And then the digital thread is really an expansion of the ERP systems, where it really, all the way from your suppliers through your business to your customers, there's a common thread, digital thread, that links it all together to make things easy, frictionless, and transparent. So what are the threats? Well, as in earlier, our competitors can respond faster than we can. They might be able to deliver a part complete before we can even finish the quote because they have the speed of these systems. Our customers, especially if they're OEMs, will soon require digital technology to simply work with them. It'll be the price of admission to work with larger companies. And we won't have the knowledge to optimize our operations and minimize our costs when, in fact, our competitors could be getting much better, much faster than we are. So what are the first steps? Again, as I said with the product side, start small and look at what you do today. Do simple maps of your information data flows, both internally and externally. What are the bottlenecks? And what are the problems happening in your current information processes? Some of the things I've found is people will have digital data from one source, but it's not hooked up to another source. Like, I'll have stuff on what I need to make from my customer, but it's not in my production process. So I have to manually enter this information. Well, certainly as a business leader, you could end up being the one doing that entering. That kind of burn up a lot of your time. So think about where are the bottlenecks. And it could be that you don't have a good return process for work that didn't turn out well, and you get tied up doing a lot of really expensive rework. So again, just look at what you have today and where are the current problems you find. And the bottom line is, it's not about technology really, but where is your money made today and what would help you make more money in either reduced time, reduced cost, or increased revenue. It's really not about just introducing technology. It's about making money. Our third category is people. They're going to be the ones who will do the work and implement the technology. They are really the key success factor and resource. And it's something, mindset is just as important as having technical skills on this. We all need to have both the mindset that we're prepared to figure it out and we're prepared to learn new ideas. Because we've done it this way before, we have to be able to go back and rethink that. And in the end, how fast you and your organization can learn will be a key element in your success or failure. Now, if you're consumed by the day-to-day execution of your activities, it will be hard. You'll have to look at what can we do to either change how much time every day, or do we have to add resources? Do we have to make some improvements so I can carve out a couple of days to really focus on how to make a digital improvement in the future? And then again, I suggest that you and your whole team need to look at your whole manufacturing system, not just the new technology. It's not just about putting a new piece of automation in. It's how does this help or hinder or enhance the whole manufacturing system from start to finish, as well as finding out where the biggest bang is for your buck. You want to find out what would really make the biggest and best use of your money with technology. So what are some threats? Well, we can end up installing technology that neither we nor our people can understand and use. I've seen that many times in all kinds of levels of technology. People really don't understand how to make use of it, so actually it costs us time rather than saves us time. And obviously, if this happens, we can make very expensive mistakes. The new technology is expensive, so we want to manage our risk on these things. And then we can easily end up really serving our technology and not our customers. We all end up, let's keep the technology working and lose sight and our attention on our customers. So what are some first steps? Well, we'll go into the key leadership and team skills needed in the next episodes. But to start with, I'd say begin engaging your people in the conversation of what is our value chain and how can we dramatically improve it. Have everybody thinking about where are we adding value, what are the things we could do differently. And then just ask your team what's in their way or what's missing for them today. It may or may not need a technology solution. There may be things that's holding you back that really don't need technology. They just need a better process that they're actually executing today. Well, that finishes up our brief overview of Industry 4.0. This is not the whole picture, but it helps set the stage for our next episodes on leading the factory forward and utilizing digital technologies. Again, I'd like to think of Industry 4.0 in three categories. Parts, how do we make our products? Processes, how does our work and information flow? And people, how do we and our teams implement our digital future? In the next episodes, we'll begin sharing some of the mindsets and skill sets needed for you to lead your digital journey. And in the show notes and on my website will be a series of additional resource links that have informed my thinking and can help you with your further development should you choose. Again, thanks for listening.